Welcome back to Dry Hollow Homestead. This is Danielle, and this video is just going to be a couple things that are happening around our kitchen. So come along if you want to see some of the stuff we did this week. We are going to go ahead and vacuum seal this cheese that we made in my last video. This was the Asiago that I made using yogurt culture, and we had skimmed the milk and I made butter, skimmed the cream off, and we made butter with it. I'm going to go ahead and vacuum seal it up and age it in my fridge. You can age Asiago for about 4 weeks, and it's pretty good. 4 to 6 weeks is great. Now, anytime you are putting it in a cold environment, like the fridge for me, it slows that fermentation or that aging process down. So on the longer side of aging, it's best if you're doing it in the fridge. That's just what works for me right now. I vacuum seal all my cheeses and age them in the fridge, like I said. There are other ways to do this, but this is what works best for me with like the low chance of contamination and not a whole lot of maintenance. That sounded funny. So this is just what I do. There's wax you can do on the outside of the cheeses. I prefer this. I definitely don't love plastic, but this is cold when I put it in the vacuum sealer. I definitely don't like hot things and plastic combined. So this is a compromise I make. One day I'd like to get better versed in different aging ways to age and places to age. But right now, with the family size that I have and that I am trying to keep alive and homeschool, and you know, this isn't my greatest priority, so this works really well for now. Like I said, one day I will probably try and do like a cloth and olive oil, like, you know, cloth vine. I don't know, something a little fancier, but we aren't about fancy right now. We're about practical, and as long as it tastes good, we are happy. Okay, while that is vacuum sealing, I wanted to show you some of the ways that I kind of set myself up for success. That sounds really kindergarten-y, but it's okay. This week, I know I want to make egg roll in a bowl, and I want to make stroganoff. We also have corned beef that we started brining a week ago that we can fix. It's usually around 10 days. So I have a phone call. Okay, back to what I was saying. So I set myself up for success for this week by kind of looking at, I do not do a meal plan, but I do, you know, kind of think a couple meals in advance. I try to, but it's very flexible. And so I went ahead and thought, I am thawing. I will put these in the fridge. They're still frozen. But I'm going to make a stroganoff and an egg roll in a bowl this week, and also corned beef brisket that's actually in the brine in my fridge. I'm going to have a video out on that. Probably not real soon. It'll probably be a week or so. But those are 3 meals that I know we're doing this week. So I went ahead and put my roast for my stroganoff in this 13x9 pan, and some pork loin. This was just a small pack. This will be like a lunch. Some venison, ground venison. My daughter saw this tiny little filet mignon, and she wanted to thaw it out because it looked cute. So I guess we're going to have that at some point this week. And 2 2-pound bags, containers, whatever, 4 pounds of ground beef. So I went ahead and sat them in this 13x9 tray, and I will put them in the fridge, and I will have one step done for all my meals this week. Just doing this helps me so much. So I might change my mind at the last second and say, nah, I don't want egg roll in a bowl, but I do have these things thawed out. I will make stroganoff because I got those mushrooms that you will see at some point at Sharp Shopper. So we'll definitely do the stroganoff. I definitely probably will do the egg roll in a bowl, and I do that with ground beef because I did get the cabbages. So that just kind of gets me a little ahead with my meals of this week. Any kind of help like that really can make a big difference when it becomes mealtime and you are scrambling for something to make, you at least have some meat thawed out. So I vacuum seal my cheeses, make sure that the air is completely out. Then I always label, because you will forget what it is. So this is an Asiago, and we made that, let's see, last Thursday was the 3rd. So I'm going to put, this is the 2nd month, February 3rd, and I will put how long it should age. So I said 4+ weeks. I always write that on my wheels, and I do it at the top above the seal. That way if I cut it open and I want to reseal in the bag, I can usually have enough space to do that. Or I usually, when I cut a wheel of cheese open, I will cut it in half, and I will usually reseal half of it and then like quarter up the other half to eat right away or to share. So this is going in the fridge, and so is my thawing meat for the week. Good morning. I am going to go ahead and start a project of preserving some eggs. Spring has started around this farm, and our chickens have finally been laying quite a few eggs. So this is my egg basket. It was completely full yesterday. We gave some away to our neighbors, and I made some breakfast of fried eggs with chives and butter this morning. But these were still, they have little spots of dirt or poop or something on them, so I'm not using these. If you are going to water glass, make sure that they are farm fresh. They have not been washed, and they are perfectly clean. Like some of these, they just had a little smear of something. I did not use them. They have to be impeccably clean. So I put all that I had that were impeccably clean in a glass jar. This is actually like a pickle jar. I use this for milking, but we're going to be more vigilant on preserving our eggs this year because the egg prices were crazy last year, and I always have an overabundance. It's just making sure I take the time to do this. And this is the best way we have found to use eggs up and to preserve them for later. So I went ahead and put my impeccably clean eggs within our jar. And then I'm going to do a solution of 1 quart of water to 1 ounce of pickling lime. And I'm just going to do that until these eggs are covered. And then as I have more that are really clean, I will do the same and add the same ratio until this jar is filled. And I'm not sure how many I will get in there. I'm thinking like that's a dozen right now. So I'm thinking I'll be able to get about 3 dozen in a milking jar in my gallon jars. And for us in the winter, we were without eggs. That would probably do us a good week. So we at least have 3 months of no eggs. That's just the cycle of the chickens. I know there was lots of theories about how the feed was keeping them from laying. We've had chickens for 13 years, and that's always been our cycle. You can use water glassed eggs up to a year after you put them in your solution. Just rinse and then use. Okay, we're going to make a very large serving of granola. So in my large bowl, this is the largest bowl I own. It has 24 cups of old-fashioned oats and 1 cup of sprouted flour. That's sprouted whole wheat flour. You can use just regular whole wheat. You can use all-purpose. It really doesn't matter. 4 cups of our chopped pecans, and this is a lot. I don't know, maybe 4 cups, maybe 5 cups of coconut struts. Shredded coconut. Man, that mom brain is so strong right now.
I'm spreading it
Yeah,
out.
I don't know if your hands are clean. Maybe you should wash them first. This was just what I had left in my cabinet, and I'm combining a bunch of recipes. I always do a very simple one, but because I'm in the mood for these pecans and coconut, this is what I'm doing this time. So our next thing that we're going to do is we're melting the coconut oil because I don't have a microwave. This is how I do it, in the oven. And we need the sweetener. Today, sometimes I use honey, sometimes I do maple syrup. I think I'm going to go ahead and do maple syrup.
What?
Actually, I'm adding the rest of my dry ingredients so I can mix all this together. I put salt, probably 1.5 tablespoons, maybe a tablespoon. This is 24 cups of oats, and so this is a big recipe here. And then I did about 2 tablespoons. of cinnamon. The only thing left, I'll mix all this together, is my coconut oil and my sweetener, which today is going to be maple syrup. Okay, I poured in 2 cups of melted coconut oil and then 2 cups of maple syrup. We're going to mix this together. I have my oven preheated to 300. Then we are going to get our... No, honey, wait a minute. We are going to get our pans ready. I use like the cookie trays with silicone mats so that I don't have a lot of parchment paper or stickage. And we stick them in the oven anywhere between 20 to 30 minutes. I just kind of smell, try to keep my eye on it. I don't stir because I kind of want it to stick together. I want big clumps, so I do not stir. I put also about 2 tablespoons of vanilla, homemade vanilla extract in that. Mixed it all up. It is coated really well. Now I'm going to get it on pans. I will just do a thin layer. Well, I don't know what a thin layer. Let me show you what I do. About that much. I don't know. It's not too much of a layer on both of these pans, and I'll stick them in the oven. I'll probably set a timer for 10 minutes and switch the places in the oven, like one the top to the bottom and then the bottom to the top.
Go. This is a top. This is a ball. This is a...
Okay, this is what the 24 cups of granola ends up looking like. My children have all had a bowl, and I have too. So that's probably actually going to end up being our dinner. We might pop popcorn or have some fruit to go along with that, but homemade granola, that's a big win. I will eventually let this cool a little bit longer, and then I'll put it in a bag. And, yep, stocked up on granola for a few weeks. Okay, on this morning we are going to have those whole wheat pancakes that I made a mix of in one of my last videos. I'll try to link it in the cards. But I don't have a microwave, so I'm melting my coconut oil in my cast iron pan, and then I'm actually going to pour it in from there. And as always, I have a little helper. She's getting pretty good at cracking eggs without getting eggshells in there. So, and this is how I eat sometimes my pancakes. I put peanut butter and syrup on top. For dinner this evening, we actually made tacos. This was a little kit we got from Sharp Shopper. You probably saw in my last haul. I browned up some taco meat, and I also have a queso blanco that I made earlier in the day, and some lettuce, and I put together with some sour cream. It was delicious. The kids gave it a thumbs up. It's always a hit when we do taco night. On this night, after I had went out and milked the cow, I decided that I wanted to make quirk, and you actually use warm, fresh, raw milk straight from the cow. I just filter it off and put it in a gallon jar, and then I'm putting about 2 tablespoons of mesophilic or backsplash whey. I have videos on how to get that. I'll try to link in the cards above, but that is a great way to save yourself some money instead of buying culture every time you need to make cheese. And I stir that in up and down in a like so manner, and then we're going to do our rennet. So rennet, I have not found a cheaper way to do rennet. I just have to buy rennet every time. I'm going to put 2 drops of rennet into my 1/4 cup of water, and I'm trying a new brand, and it worked just fine. Spoiler alert, that was a great brand. It kind of seemed like it might have been a little cleaner. Who knows? I'm not sure, but I was happy with the results, so I will probably continue to use that. It was even just a little bit cheaper to buy that, and I bought it off New England cheesemaking.com. I can put a link in the description box, and I pour that in, give it a little swish, and then pour it in. You always use a 1/4 cup of water to dilute your rennet, even if you're using 5 gallons or 1 gallon. That's all you do. Stir up and down, and then I put a lid on this container and wrap it up with a towel and set it on the counter until morning. This is my favorite jars for milk because there's a pour spout. I'm actually not adding it to this because this is going to be making cheese. And they are kind of expensive, but when you have lots of little kids and they cannot pour from gallon jars, it's actually really hard to pour from gallon jars without making a mess. So they were a great investment. So the next morning, we are going to actually get our quirk ready. You can see that the curds in the whey have separated. I'm going to use a... Ooh, look at my fancy curd knife. It's really overkill for this. But we're going to just cut a grid into our cheese curd. and then you're supposed to let that set for about 5 minutes. I don't think I did that this morning. Sometimes I forget to do that. I don't know if it made a big difference or not, but you're supposed to. You're supposed to set a timer for 5 minutes, let those curds actually firm up a little bit after you've cut them. And then I always sanitize my cheesecloth that I'm going to be using with hot boiling water. Yep, there's my grid. And then you're going to actually dump your curds into a cheesecloth and allow them to hang for several hours. There's no specific, depends on what temperature or what consistency you want. If you want a more creamy with more whey left in it, you're going to go on the shorter side of maybe 4 hours. If you want a really dry work, you're going to go more to the 6 to 7. There's no, exact. You do what you want and what works for you that day, and you can always mix your whey back in. So I have my Ohio stoneware bowl that I put under my whey or quark while it's draining, and it collects the whey. And if it was too dry, if you were trying to make cheesecake or something, I need to show you how to do that. There's a German cheesecake that uses quark that is really different than anything I've had in America. We need to do that sometime. But yeah, what was I saying? You can mix it that way back into the quark if you want a better texture. It just didn't get exactly what you wanted, maybe a little too dry. You can gauge it by adding a little more of that whey back in, just mixing it in. I always tie opposite sides together on my cheesecloth before hanging, and this works pretty good. The more you have in your cheesecloth, the harder it is to get them all in. But I have a little hook on the corner of one of my cabinets, which if you've been around long, you've probably seen plenty of times, and nobody notices it until I'm actually hanging something there. And yeah, I let it hang for several hours, usually just until I think about it. So first I'm sauteing the mushrooms in butter, and that's the first part. So we're going to let them reduce down a little bit, and then I will take you along while we make our stroganoff. Okay, so I have actually leftover pot roast meat in here from a beef roast. My mushrooms, I have garlic, and I have chopped onions. We're sauteing them in homemade butter, obviously. I'm going to add a little bit of flour now. My meat was extremely seasoned, so it was almost a little bit too seasoned. So I'm definitely not going to add quite as much salt and pepper as I usually would. At this point, we're going to make a roux. So we're going to add some flour and some milk, and usually salt and pepper, but I'll go a little light on my salt and pepper. And then we're going to get this into a gravy, and then we add some sour cream. And you definitely want to let your flour cook off and thicken up into a gravy first. This is our egg noodles that we will eat it on top of. We actually just overflowed because that's my life.
I ate chicken.
You ate the chicken, good. All right, so I'm getting that step in now.
You set it on.
What are you putting in it?
This is for me. This is some lunch. The chicken.
I actually don't have sour cream to stick in here. I have quark, which is like in between sour cream and cream cheese. It's just different. And I'm going to use that today instead. So
That's the last of the milk.
there are some in the back. That looks about right. We're going to let this stir it until it's good and thick. I made a nice gravy to eat on top of our noodles. Okay, the stroganoff I did add more milk to. It is thickened up really nicely. I also added some paprika in there, just a little bit. Noodles are done. Egg noodles are done. My last step in this is to add some sour cream. We do not have sour cream. This is my homemade quark, so we're going to try that out. I'll let you know how this works out. You only need like a half a cup, so we'll see what it looks like when I'm done. Okay, so I mixed in my quark. It smells delicious. It looks delicious. It tastes delicious. We're going to pour, we're going to put noodles on our plate. I know it's messy. It's okay. Daisy would like to tell you that she got hurt. It's a very messy day, and she was outside and she got her hurt. her leg hurt. She wants you to know that. So we're going to put some noodles on our plates, then pour the stroganoff on top. And then my mother-in-law, father-in-law, mother-in-law brought us over a strawberry cheesecake cake roll from a local farm that does things, I think. So we're going to slice this up and have this as dessert. Tomorrow is Valentine's Day.
Yeah!
Okay, so that bread that I made yesterday, I took a little video of it. It wasn't beautiful. It tasted good. We already ate 1.5 of the loaves. But this is what I was going to do with this not so beautiful, sorry, the kids are yelling, the beautiful loaf. So I'm going to chop it up. And I'm going to go ahead and meal prep some French toast casseroles. If you have been around here any length of time, you know that bringing out the Bosch, that means that that is butter time. Okay, so I made one for tomorrow morning, one French toast casserole. All I do for a French toast casserole is cut up whatever I'm doing. I even started tearing it up because it took a long time to cut. That was kind of stupid. So I just do, when I'm making French toast, I have egg that I beat, and then I add milk, vanilla, and cinnamon. And then that's what I dip my bread into. So I did the same thing. I just made a big mixture of that, milk and eggs, and then I sprinkled a little sugar in that mixture. I don't usually do that, but I don't know, I just thought it would be good because it's kind of bland without it, I would think, this whole thing. And then I sprinkled some cinnamon and a little sugar on the very top. And so I didn't really, I thought when I made this a mixture that I put in here, I thought it'd be enough for both, so I had to do it two times. So I used like 6 eggs and 6 cups of milk, something like that. And then I made one more for the freezer. So I'm going to go ahead and wrap this up, put it in the freezer, and then I will thaw it. The night before, I'll just set it in the fridge, and then I'll put it in the microwave. I don't even own a microwave. I will put it in the oven that next morning. This is going in the fridge tonight, and then I will bake it tomorrow morning. I don't know, 375 until the house smells delicious. This is another way that we heat up without having a microwave. These were leftover pancakes from the other day. Just turned the oven on and set them on straight on the racks. That's how we're heating that up. So that's going to be our lunch. We're actually having a late lunch. While I was in the middle of making those French toast casserole, I did 1/2 gallon of cream into butter. So now I'm going to go ahead and rinse this butter and get it in the freezer too. I just wanted to show you my little 13 by 9 cover that I picked up at a local little store. It's cute. So it kind of helps with not having a aluminum foil or plastic wrap on top. This container, this 13 by 9, does not have a lid for it. It's got like a design on the outside, but it fits on there perfect. So yay. Thank you guys so much for coming along in my kitchen. I hope I inspired you to do something different maybe in your kitchen. I love watching videos and seeing what other moms are doing. So God bless, and I will see you again next time. Bye.